Shalom to the hopeful elect. Let's give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Bahashem, Rachak, Kodash. Double honor to our elders and the apostles of the great millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Started with 144,000 men.
Stop buying generic Viagra if you haven't tried this new 100.
Salakia. I got this clip I just listening to a sheriff out here in Florida about a new crime, you could call it, I guess you want to say, that's going out. You know about these damn kids that be playing video games and they don't have no discipline. Of course, you know, these parents are being buddy with their children and they don't discipline their children, so their children is, you know, getting their feelings and getting their emotions playing video games, and they call the cops on other kids. But you know, I want to get this precept first. In Ecclesiastes, better known as Sirach, chapter. Yeah, move your shit over, man. Look up. Chapter 30, starting at verse 1. And it says, "He that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod," right? Because you know the scripture where it says, "Spoil the rod, spare the child." Often that nigga gonna have to feel the rod. It's called discipline. At the end of the day, that's all it's about, discipline. You don't necessarily have to whoop your child and beat your child, you know, to the point where they're bleeding and things of that nature, right? But they do deserve to be chastised, and if need be, disciplined. All right, you're gonna have to let them feel the rod. You know, an old school proverb that everybody should know is "Spare the rod, spoil the child." And if you don't whoop that ass, you're gonna end up with spoiled children, spoiled brats, which makes you actually a liability to any community, especially the Israelite community, so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, Indian, West Indian, and Haitian community. You're the reason why we got situations that go on in our neighborhoods as far as gang banging and drug dealing and women thotting and getting abused, you know, by their boyfriends or their so-called gangster-ass husband or boys or whatever, men or whatever, right, so-called, knowing they're emotional. They want to argue with a woman, and the only thing they can do to shut a woman up is to whoop her ass. When, as a man, your best bet, especially in these days and times, is to walk away. All right? That's what's in your best bet, is to walk away. Okay. Yeah. It's not a crosswalk, but it's all right. We decent people. Yeah, but anyway, I want to let this video play so y'all can hear what I'm talking about, and then I'll probably pull out some more precepts after this.
Issues that we're having locally and across the state. And as you know, one of the major issues that we're having locally and across the state and across the nation is the swatting. And it starts with gamers, usually teenagers, online, and they're playing games, and one gets mad at the other, or one gets mad because he lost the game to someone, looks up his address, and then he calls the local police department or sheriff's office and talks about a horrific event that occurred. Oh, I've killed my mother and father, I've set the house on fire, I'm burning everybody up. Whatever they say causes a remarkable response of EMS, fire, and or law enforcement, and usually law enforcement. This epidemic has gotten so bad that we do not do a emergency response to something that is announced as being that horrific. We know by patterns and trends, the way they make the phone calls, that there's a 99.9% chance that it is a swatting call and not a real emergency. Our first fear is at some point in time, because there's been so much of this crying wolf through these swatting calls, that there will be a real emergency that needs a real response, and it won't get the appropriate response. And then there's always somebody goes, so, well, why don't you respond as an emergency to all of them? Because it puts law enforcement officers' lives at risk. It puts fire and EMS life at risk if they're called into the swatting incident. And it puts the homeowners at risk. Many times these calls come after the homeowners have gone to bed at night. So all of a sudden there's this big rapping on the door, and there's this police response. Well, you wake somebody up in Florida, Polk County, in the middle of the night with a big rap on the door, and it's more likely than not that the homeowner is going to have a gun in his hand on the other side of the door, which can end up a horrible event. So we go to the ends of the earth to solve these crimes, and my detectives, who are the very best, have done exactly that. This was not the most difficult one that we've ever worked, but let me share with you the arrest. Here's what makes these unique. Our suspects are 14 and 15 years of age, and I'm going to give their names, and some of you wimpy stations are going to blur it out, but just get ready to blur, because I'm going to do it. And they're from one, Syracuse, New York, and Hartford, Connecticut. So I applaud our Department of Juvenile Justice for their work, because they actually extradited them here after my detectives were able to get a warrant for their arrest. So get ready to blur, you wimpy stations, okay? Here's Isaiah Reyes. He's 14. He's from Syracuse, New York. And Carderi Martin, he's 15, and he's from East Hartford, Connecticut. And let me tell you what occurred. It started on June the 4th. At about 7:50 in the evening. Our victim, who lives in the Davenport, Haines City area, was 12 years old, and he was playing a game with Cardi. And that's what he knew him as. He knew his name. These all are in the same gaming group. And for whatever reason, Cardi became mad with our victim, and once the game was over, he then created a swatting incident. He called the Haines City Police Department. Turned out it was in the unincorporated area, and Haines City sent it to us and said, you know, there's this shooting next door. I've heard it before, but it's really bad, and my mother said to call. And they're shooting, and they're shooting, and they're shooting guns. So, of course, we went there and determined immediately that it was a swatting incident. So the investigation's underway. Our detectives get involved in the case on the 4th of June and tell the parents of this victim, take his devices away from him, stop him from playing games online, because whether he won the game, whether he and the suspect got into an argument over the game, the bottom line is the victim was a victim because he was playing these games online and made someone mad. That doesn't give them the right to come back and violate the law, commit a second-degree felony and a third-degree felony by swatting. Well, lo and behold, on June the 5th, the very next day, there's another swatting incident to the same victim. This time, the call goes into the Kissimmee Police Department. Kissimmee determines, hey, that's in Polk County, notifies the sheriff's office. This was a more sinister call by Isaiah Reyes. What he said was this: my wife didn't cook dinner tonight. And because she didn't cook dinner tonight, and because she set my clothes on fire as a result of an argument, I've taken a shotgun and killed my wife and killed the children. And that's the kind of bizarreness we hear often. So, of course, we responded back to the residents. There's the victim. He's online playing with who we determined through the investigation as Isaiah Reyes. So we start following this case back. We tell them, you elected our criminal justice. Then the kid, for the parents, for whoever's at the house. This is a very, very dangerous event. There have been serious vehicle crashes with police officers and deputies rushing to scenes thinking they had found enough to put. The gamers don't necessarily know each other. Fortunately, they did in this instance. But what's really remarkable about all of this is it can be stopped with responsible parents. And at the very least, while these emergency services are going to, we still go there and have to check it out, but while our resources are tied up doing this, checking out this false alarm, then we're not available to respond to real emergencies, to people who really.
All right, and like he said, it start with the damn parents. It start with you damn sorry ass parents. You old scary ass parents. It starts with y'all. Irresponsible ass parents. Y'all can make a kid, but y'all can't discipline a kid. It's not the duty of the world to discipline your children, the ones you had. All right, that's men and women. All right, now, granted, if the father ain't there, or whatever, blah blah skippy woo woo, different cases for different places. All right, but at the end of the day, these children need to know what discipline is, especially your sons, if you really give a fuck about them, right? Because this might be, I'm just going to put out this second edge of 15 and 16 for a situation wherein this can cause, even though it's on a small level, it's a part of it, but this is going to cause people to not, your police department, your fire department, they're going to get tired of these swatting calls going out, right? And they're gonna have to investigate and endure, or come up with some kind of way to really see the validation of these people that's making these calls. Right? It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And through the internet, a lot of people have gained power, over their princes, over their kings, over your government, over your system. When you have a 14-year-old, 12, 13, and 14-year-old can get your address, your internet address, and find out your physical address, right? And place a call on you, you're taking advantage of the system, right? And all of that is because of these parents that want to be friends with your children, right? Let me see if I can find that. In the same Ecclesiastes chapter 30, verse 9, it says, "Conquer not thy child." Conquer means like be all friendly and shit, like be all. I'm gonna get the proper definition. Get the proper definition. Conquer. All right. They say Cocker Spaniel. You motherfuckers. Conquer. Conquer. It means to like be a friend of your child, man. Being playful with your child, man. They give me a dog shit. That's not what I want. That's bullshit. Conquer thy child, and he shall make thee afraid. Play with him, and he will bring thee to heaviness. All right. So you don't play with your children, especially your sons. They gotta understand what discipline is. Discipline is. They gotta understand what hard work is. Let's go here. I'm jumping down right to verse. Is it jumping down? Should I jump up? Yeah. I'm jumping down to verse 13. It says, "Chastise thy son and hold him to labor, lest his lewd behavior be an offense unto thee." And these cops are going to they're going to come up with some kind of law to lock you damn ignorant ass parents up for not doing your job. Your son needs to know what discipline is. By the time he 13, 14, 15, he should be understanding what hard work is. Cutting the grass, not just playing video games all damn day long. All right? This is a shortcut, just doing a lesson, man, popping a lesson out there. You know, not necessarily going into prophecy, even though these situations is going to lead into prophecy. It is going to lead into, you know, the government being shut down. You're not having the use of your fire trucks, your ambulances, your police vehicles, because they're gonna get tired of this shit. And more children that see that they can do this, they're gonna think it's fun and make fun of it, and they're gonna pursue to do these ignorant acts. Right? And personally, I blame you parents for not doing your part. But with that, I hope this lesson is edifying. Where you can find this recording at is at since I don't got it on the screen, it's on Google, Fox 13 Tampa. When did it come out? A minute ago. All right, it came out a minute ago. No, that's 1 million. 2 days ago. Came out 2 days ago. It's called Grady Judd on teen swatting arrest. Yeah, they're not playing with your kids. They went all the way up to Connecticut, wherever the guy was at, and their police department was working with them. They were working with each other, and now them kids is serving time, or they waiting for the judge. They in detainment right now, but they just waiting for a judge to come out with a ruling. So if you care about your children or whatever, which a lot of these parents don't, you know, they're going to end up probably in alligator Alcatraz one of these days. With that, I'm going to close out. Hoping this lesson is edifying to the elect. Hey, man, just be watchful. Be mindful of the times. And, you know, to the hopeful elect, endure. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Batazah, endure. Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.